Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, Dandavat pranams to everyone. All Krishna Prabhupada. Welcome you all for this 11th session of our course. I'm sorry that I just 20 minutes before I came home from Udupi. So, I was worried that I will not be able to even make it. But thanks to Krishna that, he helped. So, sorry for the late. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurun Militam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedantam Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanandam Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are getting the fag end of this course, where we started with a definition that in Krishna consciousness, sometimes what we see as a punishment is actually a process for purification. So we have come a pretty long way. We have come till the section 4 of our list of punishments. So today we will try to discuss that by and large, and next week we will finish the leftover if there is anything that we couldn't complete today, and then we'll do a quick summary of the entire course. Whatever we have been discussing so far has very much relevance to our personal spiritual practices, whether it is with respect to our conditioned life, whether it is about our stages in our practicing in Krishna consciousness as a sadhaka, and even from the perspective of somebody who has been very stable in Krishna consciousness but had residual cleanliness to be done. So we did till that till last week. This fourth section that we are going to discuss is pretty interesting, because this has nothing to do with somebody's mistake or somebody's problem or anybody has to be purified. This section is only meant for only dealing with those who are absolutely pure and fully surrendered, and they are in Krishna's side. But still, why it is coming under the purview of punishments is something that we are going to discuss. And we will take a couple of use cases to discuss this particular scenario. Before we even getting into the scenario, Krishna is called Rasaraj. Krishna is called Leela Purushottam. Krishna is somebody who always want to have his personal private time with his devotees. Krishna does not like in general to be actively involved in administration. He outsources them to his expansions of expansions, to reflections, to incarnations, to administrative bodies. So that is a separate technical topic. If you are interested, please read Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining to Rupa Goswami, and in detail, there are different types of incarnations, different types of forms of the Lord. The Lord, in his manifested Leela, he tries to perform different actions for different purposes. So he has got Swayam Rupa in his natural transcendental form as Shyama Sundara. He performs some Leela. Then he has a Tadekatma Rupa, which means he tries to take the form to perform some administrative function. Then there is something called as Avesha Rupa, which means he tried to empower some personality that we call as Sakti Avesha. So it's called Avesha Rupa. So for the Lord, for him to perform his various pastimes, he takes different form. But when it comes to him performing Leela with his devotees, he personally participates. And his Leela cannot be monotonous. His Leela has to be. It cannot be just, simply Krishna coming and giving darshan and everybody is doing puja. That cannot be the case. He has got all types of rasas. 5 primary rasas and 7 secondary rasas. So totally, he has got 12 rasas. Santa rasa, Dasya rasa, Sakya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, Madhurya rasa. Which means he has different flavors also when he is performing his Leela. When you compare to the secondary one, he has got chivalrous rasa, like the way he had performed Leela with Bhishma Dev. So Krishna is Rasaraj, not just namesake. He has got different rasas. Not only that, Krishna's attributes, qualities, which Rupa Goswami is compiling in 64 items, are they limited to 64 Krishna's qualities? No. 64 are something that Rupa Goswami has helped us to kind of, because we are all sadhakas, we need to comprehend. Suppose Krishna has got 4,077,000, qualities. How will you even remember them? So just for us to help us meditate, for us to glorify the Lord, and to develop some scientific attachment towards Krishna, Rupa Goswami has given. Otherwise, Krishna's qualities are unlimited. Krishna's leelas are unlimited. Krishna's forms are also unlimited. Krishna's avatars are also unlimited. It is not Dasavatar. Dasavatar is just a perspective that Jayadeva Goswami has brought. They are all bona fide avatars, but they are not limited to 10. So all the acharyas, when they were trying to deal with this science of Krishna consciousness, one thing they have done, they have never put a period, full stop, when it comes to explaining about Krishna's glories. The only full stop is Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, period. Rest, everything associated with Krishna or ... is ever increasing, ever exciting, ever purifying, and never ending. So Krishna is still performing his Leela. In fact, all of us on our conditioned existence, even in our conditioned state, we realize Krishna's hand in our life. I am sure each of you may have your own notebooks, diaries, wherever you record your realizations. If you open and see how many times Krishna had touched your life personally, and you would know that it is Krishna and no one else. That you would know, and Krishna would know for sure, and probably your spiritual master or some of your closest counselor would know. Or for all the others, it is just an episode, just an event. So from that perspective, Krishna performs unlimited pastimes is going to do forever, unlimited period in time. So from that perspective, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's attributes, Krishna's Leela, Krishna's everything is unlimited. The reason this is important for us to know is as much as Krishna's attributes are unlimited, Vaishnava's glories are also relatively unlimited. When I say relatively unlimited, I just want to say that Vaishnavas are as merciful, as glorious, and as transcendental as Krishna. Sakshad Haridvena. They are not Krishna, but they have attributes and activities. Because Krishna, when he performs his Leelas with his dear devotees, so he need to have his dearest devotees at par, at somewhat relevant and relatable for him. So for that, this section that we are going to discuss today is very much dedicated. So section 4 of our punishment series in the sense of types of punishment is where Krishna performs his Leela with his dearest devotees for him to perform his Leela. And let us take 2 use cases. There can be many. We'll take 2 use cases. One use case is of our dearest Srila Raghunath Dasa Goswami during Panihati Chitta Dahi Utsav. That festival itself is named by our modern day devotees as the festival of punishment. If you go and tell this word to the outside world, people will laugh at us. You guys are crazy. How it can be called festival of punishment? What was Raghunath Das Goswami's mistake for him to be punished? If you know the pastime, Nityananda Prabhu, he said to Raghunath Das Goswami, "You thief, you are standing far away from me. You are not coming closer and offering respects and, giving an association. So I am going to punish you." Is this a reason for someone to be punished? If this is a reason for us to be punished, I guess we will be only remaining in punishment stage, never be able to do anything else. But Raghunath Das Goswami has took up so nicely upon this punishment, as if he was waiting for an opportunity. So neither Nityananda Prabhu had anything against Raghunath Das Goswami. In fact, he wanted to glorify Raghunath Das Goswami. And obviously, Raghunath Das Goswami always wanted to serve and glorify Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. So this one episode can very well tell this punishment has nothing to do with anyone's mistake. This has only to do with absolute pure exchange of love between a Lord and his dearest devotees. Absolute love. No tinge of materialistic thought process. So that is why we are going to discuss 15 qualities. When I say 15 qualities, I want to be, candid to say that when Krishna or Vaishnava's qualities are listed like this, they need to be understood these qualities are not limited, but they come from a perspective. They come from a very important set of thought process. Because when we discuss about a particular topic, we try to pick that up from a perspective. The reason I want to discuss these 15 qualities is for us to be eligible enough to be considered as a suitable candidate to be participating in Krishna's projects. These qualities are listed. And when we go through each of these qualities, we will understand, we will map them to this particular use case of Raghunath Das Goswami. And this, 15 qualities that we are going to discuss are not for us to imitate, or are not for us to, compare and go and check it in, my guru, my counselor, if they are there, or if they are not there, probably they are not devotees. It is not meant for that. These qualities are meant for inculcating in us so that we become eligible, qualified to participate in Krishna's projects, Gurudev's projects, and eligible for receiving more confidential instructions from our acharyas. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Mahavadanya. He has handpicked us in spite of our being in the stage of Patita. That is his kindness. But it is our duty not to remain Patita. Just because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Patita Pavana, how long in my life I will say, I am Patita, I am Patita, I am Patita, I am Patita. Somewhere I need to say that Krishna, I am at your service. Please engage me as much as you can. I may still remain your, doormat. I may still remain the servant at your lotus feet. But we will not disqualify ourselves stating I am Patita. We will qualify ourselves stating we are Patita. We will qualify ourselves saying, Krishna, I am available with you. Krishna, anything for you. So, these 15 qualities that we are going to discuss today, it's qualities that to ask you, what kind of student are we? What kind of a disciple are we? In the sense, are we, mature enough to be given those strategic transcendental projects that acharyas choose and give. So, these 15 qualities, for your understanding, are coming from a very, very elevated Vaishnava from Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. In Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, there is a very great saint and acharya by name Vedanta Deshika. This Vedanta Deshika is one of the pioneers in his preaching, one of the very fiercey acharya in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, who has established the principles of Sri Vaishnavism as per his predecessors. So, according to Vedanta Deshika, he says that Tattva Abhimatam Shikshaniya. Truly, such a person with these qualities is fit for instruction by the acharyas. So, we are, as usual, we will switch to our whiteboard and try to list these 15 qualities by which we will be able to learn and appreciate how our acharyas have done some transcendental service, which eventually we also need to be doing. So the very first one is about Sat Buddhi. So he says, Sat Buddhi means one who has good intelligence. Many a times we try and shy away, saying, I don't have one. As I said, now when we are discussing about these topics, we need to understand that they are not meant for us to shy away and say, I don't have. You have to say, I have and I qualify, still I am subservient. So this is not to compromise our tendency of humility. This is to uphold highest level of humility to say that I am accepting the position of your servant. To give an example, our Gurudevs, when they are sitting in the Vyasasana, in front of the Lord, receiving all appreciations and offerings, it is kind of, you are sitting in front of the Lord, accepting all the puja, all the appreciations, all the glorifications. Look at the kind of humility they may need to uphold to stay up there. So my point is, this entire section 4, which is to deal with our sense of transcendentalism, because we have been dealing with sense of purification, but now this section, which we have two parts. Part 1 is Vaishnavas are punished. Part 2, which if time permits, we'll discuss today, otherwise we'll take it up next week, is about Krishna being punished by a Vaishnava. So, in the part 1, we are taking the example of Raghunath Das Goswami. One more example, for the sake of establishing this particular type, is about Jaya and Vijaya being punished by Sanat Kumaras. Technically, what Jaya and Vijaya's mistake was, they are gatekeepers and Sanat Kumaras gate crashed. You can technically analyze them. Yes, they shouldn't have gate crashed. Technically, he could have analyzed them that he should have been careful. But in terms of the heart of Jaya and Vijaya, did not have any animosity towards Sanat Kumaras. Neither Sanat Kumaras were arrogant, egoistic people. But this was a transcendental divine arrangement. The Supreme Lord, who can bring back the life of dead people, can't he come out? When he came out, when there was a kind of argument between Sanat Kumaras and Jaya Vijaya, the Lord could have come and nullified the situation. Purna Purushottam Bhagavan, जो मरे हुए व्यक्ति को जीवित कर सकते हैं. Somebody who has brought people back to life. Santipani Muni's son, he brought back to life. Lord Ramachandra brought back the life of all the Vanaras. Can't he do this? He can. But the Lord wanted to have his fun. The Lord wanted to kind of create an opportunity so that his transcendental devotees' leelas, his transcendental devotees' qualities are very nicely, explained and glorified. So hence, Sadbuddhi is very much important. And Sadbuddhi, good intelligence, means one whose mind follows the instructions of the person whose intelligence is illuminated with knowledge, imbued with blessings. Because intelligence, when it is in the driver's seat and mind is a pillion rider, we are the safest zone. When the mind is in the driver's seat, uncontrolled mind in the driver's seat, and intelligence follow it, we have a serious problem. So hence, the Sadbuddhi is something that we need to inculcate. If we don't inculcate or if we don't work on them by ably controlling our mind. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that the intelligence illuminated with knowledge is actually a bona fide representative of Paramatma. Once intelligence, when it is properly illuminated with knowledge, then Paramatma speaks or Paramatma communicates. That is actually a representation of Paramatma. So it is important for us to note that our Krishna consciousness journey, our intelligence is very much, is invested. The second, quality that is explained is called Sadhu Sevi. Sadhu Sevi means has the disposition to mingle with and serve the sadhus. Mingle and serve sadhus. The idea is that we as people in modern corporate world or congregation devotees, we have achieved up till this point in time what we call as Krishna consciousness as a part of our life. But we are trying to get into the state called Krishna consciousness as the way of life. So Krishna consciousness is a way of life, vis-a-vis Krishna consciousness as a part of life, has got a wide gulf of difference. So Krishna consciousness as a way of life means everything, thinking, willing, feeling, talking, sleeping, everything you have Krishna. For us who have not yet fully matured in Krishna consciousness, we need some time, holiday time, party time, friends time, family time, some relaxation time, which is technically not, according to us, not a Krishna conscious time. But for a Vaishnava, for him, every time is Sadhu Sevi. He is always in the assembly of sadhus and interested in serving sadhus. I am not sure how many of you have got the experience of being personal servants to sadhus. It is not an easy service. The reason it is not an easy service is because the standard with which they try to worship and perform their personal daily activities are so high that in 2 days' time, we will want to quit that situation. We had a devotee friend by name Nanda Kumar Prabhu. He is Bhakti Charu Maharaj's disciple. He used to be personal servant of Jayapataka Maharaj. So one time when he was in Mumbai, and of course we don't know each other personally, but I knew he had done a lot of personal services to Jayapataka Maharaj. Personally traveled with him. And not only Nanda Kumar Prabhu, at least I have spoken to 15 other people. And I also have my personal experience. He mentioned in a very joking way that it is not easy to travel with Jayapataka Maharaj because his schedule, his travel, his requirement for his preaching needs, his expectation, his speed in which he performs, he can't cope up. And he says, if I go with him for 1 or 2 yatras or 2 trips, I get maxed out. I don't know how he himself manages it. So he was kind of appreciating that, suddenly he will, want to do something which he would not be prepared. So for us to serve him, we have to be always sitting at the edge of the seat, making sure everything is very well arranged. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Swarup Damodar Goswami and Govinda Das are 2 personalities. Their qualities are very wonderfully appreciated. Their qualities are appreciated how Swarup Damodar Goswami was so intelligent that he would keep everything ready for Mahaprabhu to perform his Leela. And we don't know how Mahaprabhu's mood will change. Suddenly he will see an ocean and think it is Yamuna and run inside that. Suddenly he'll see some black stone and think he is Krishna. Suddenly he will be angry. Suddenly he'll be ecstatic. Suddenly he'll be crazy. Suddenly he'll be, emotional. Suddenly he will be sorrow. Suddenly he'll be extremely joyful and jump. Suddenly he will scratch all over his body. He will do so many things which are not comprehensible by normal man. That is why this section is meant to deal with transcendental subject. It has to be dealt with very carefully. It cannot be seen from naked eyes, normal, materialistic logic. And what Swarup Damodar Goswami would do, knowing that Mahaprabhu is going to go to the stage, he used to compose a song on the fly to enable, to enhance, as well as he would go and know how to bring him to normal state to make sure that Mahaprabhu is not, hurting himself in the sense of an external, scenario. So sadhu sevi is not a very easy thing. To serve a sadhu, you have to think like a sadhu and beyond. And if none of you have got this experience, please yearn to have this experience. But even if you earn, you need to be prepared. It is extremely purifying. You may have to sleep less than them. You may have to work more than them. You may have to be cleaner than them. You may have to be prudent than them. You may have to be, prepared than them. And sometimes you may be thinking that सब कुछ मैं कर रहा हूँ, and तारीफ उनको जा रहा है. You may have to be humbler than them. In a sense, not them than them doesn't mean that you can cross them, but you have to inculcate those qualities so that you can kind of function with them, stay with them. And Krishna knew such souls are not commonly available. That is why he handpicks them. Even for him to fight, Jaya and Vijaya were chosen so that Krishna can have some, fun, some sort of a leela where he can fight and he can, do his wrestling matches. So sadhu sevi. So for us to, be a sadhu sevi, we need to serve a sadhu sevi. So it is a very interesting chain reaction. If you cannot be a sadhu sevi, you do a servant of a sadhu. Then you can be a servant of a servant of a servant of a sadhu who is serving Krishna. So that is the, mood. Third is Samuchita Charita. What is Samuchita Charita means? He is marked for his righteous conduct, both personal and social. Righteous conduct, both personal and social. We were in Vrindavan Dham last December, along with Hanumat Prashik Maharaj. So we were in Radha Govind temple. Radhika Raman Prabhu was giving a small short speech there. So we were discussing, Radhika Raman Prabhu was explaining about the entire Vrindavan Dham and 6 Goswamis. And he was explaining about Jiva Goswami. He said, of all the 6 Goswamis, Jiva Goswami, who happens to be the youngest one, he has performed such a strategic, wonderful services. Of course, everybody has done the same, but we were highlighting on Jiva Goswami's service. That was new information or new learnings for me. That Jiva Goswami literally performed legal registrations of properties that you are seeing in Vrindavan, the temples, the bagiches, the places that are there with Vaishnavas or different mutts. They have been properly acquired in their documentation. Jiva Goswami used to literally write, literally participate, go and get stamp paper, write the contract, do the registration. Can you imagine? It is not that Jiva Goswami sat under some tree and wrote just Shadu Sandarbha. Jiva Goswami performed those services that is needed for the preaching mission. Why I am saying it here? Righteous conduct, both personal and social, involves how you are able to impress, influence, establish the authenticity of our Vaishnavism. That is why Prabhupada says, Vaishnava, one single Vaishnava should be a wholesome package, which means he should learn to cook, he should learn to sing, he should learn to perform arati, he should learn to manage, he should learn to take care of finances, he should learn to perform festivals, he should be learning to have a very good oration that he can speak. When I say very good here, not necessarily in terms of perfect skills. It is in terms of a pure mentality. To an extent, he is able to perform these tasks. If I can give an example of a mother. When a mother is trying to cultivate or bring the child up, the mother is a singer. Even though she may not be a public singer, but for her child, she is the wonderful singer. She is the resource manager. She is an accountant. She is an accountant. She is project manager. She does everything. So when you love a person, you don't go to a course to acquire this knowledge. These knowledge you inculcate out of your own love for that person. That is why a Vaishnava is called gentleman. A Vaishnava knows how to conduct himself. A Vaishnava is a person who is able to behave. Righteous conduct not just only mean walking in the right path. Sometimes they need to know how to deal with miscreants. Jayananda Prabhu is one wonderful example who taught us how to even deal with miscreants. So much so that after Jayananda Prabhu left this world, those people came to the temple and they cried. They cried saying that, oh my God, what a wonderful devotee he was. Those were the people whom nobody wants to deal with, but Jayananda Prabhu dealt with. So righteous conduct. Srila Prabhupada, the whole world is appreciating. The whole world is appreciating. Brahmanda tarite shakti tare jane jane e veda purane gunagaye jeva sune. One single Vaishnava has got the power and potency to deliver the entire Brahmanda. How? By his personal conduct, by his being very good, intelligent, and he is always a sadhu sevi and having a righteous conduct. Let's see more. Fourth, Tattva Bodha Abhilashi, which means one who is eager to learn spiritual teachings. Tattva Bodha Abhilashi. He is not sentimentalist. Eager for spiritual teachings. Or if I can say this person performs his service based on the spiritual teachings and not just out of sentiment. That is why Prabhupada is repeatedly saying please read my books. Please study my books. Please learn them scrutinizingly. So Tattva Bodha Abhilashi means one who is eager in learning spiritual teachings. So whatever activity a Vaishnava performs, there are emotions, there are sentiments, but there are also what we call as science. So they just don't do this whimsically. There is always a basis on which they do that. And that is why a Vaishnava is a walking encyclopedia. You can literally watch Srila Prabhupada and learn Srimad Bhagavatam. You can literally watch saintly personalities and learn Srimad Bhagavatam because they perform all their actions. One of the reasons of being a sadhu sevi means what you have learned you're seeing in action, and when you're learning in action you will be able to very easily learn. So in our life we need to, many times I've heard devotees saying that, Prabhuji, I am not a philosophy person. I like kathas. I'm not a philosophy person. You don't need to be a philosophy person. Nobody is expecting you to become a scholar. But we need to have that much philosophical understanding that we can walk behind a Vaishnava. When Vibhishana came to surrender to the lotus feet of Lord Rama, everybody said, don't accept Vibhishana. But Hanuman said we should accept Vibhishana. And when Vibhishana was accepted, there were two people who came along with Vibhishana. The question was raised, why those two people were accepted? Okay, Vibhishana had some reasoning. Hanuman gave 3 reasons to accept Vibhishana. Number 1, Vibhishana was constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord. Number 2, Vibhishana came and personally surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord. And number 3, Vibhishana's personal conduct back at his house was so wonderful that Hanuman recommended Vibhishana to Lord Rama. So when Hanuman went to Lanka to search Sita, he saw Vibhishana's house, how he kept, how he brought his daughter nicely, how he was, not taking the sides of Adharma. So Hanuman gave a recommendation. So in our entire Siddhanta journey, if you learn that much Siddhanta that I should follow behind a self-realized soul, but not blindly using my intelligence, then we are in a safe zone. So Tattva Bodha Abhilashi means we should be eager to learn spiritual teachings and apply them in our lives. So 5th one, Sushrushu. Sushrushu means excels in helping the Guru in his seva. Excel in helping Guru for his seva. When Srila Prabhupada was initial days, there was a serious financial trouble in ISKCON. When ISKCON was formed, ISKCON was not a very rich organization. And all the disciples in those days, to help Srila Prabhupada, what they did, they all went for jobs. Who all went for jobs? Jayapataka Maharaj went for job. Few other devotees in those days went for a job. whilst they are coming from a multi-millionaire family. Jayapataka Maharaj's grandfather was one of the richest guys in Wisconsin in those days. So, the mood in which the Vaishnavas performed the service was so wonderful that they even excelled in their service. Jayapataka Maharaj shared once in Radha Rasbihari temple when he was there, I think, 20 years before. He said, they used to do 3 shifts. Get up Mangalarti, finish Mangalarti, 6 o'clock to 2 o'clock they used to do a shift. 2 o'clock till 10 o'clock they used to do a shift, or 2 o'clock, 8 o'clock, or 10 o'clock they used to do a shift. Then they come back in the night, clean their clothes, clean the temple, do all sorts of their ashrams routine. So 2 shifts job, 1 shift of their personal sadhana, and little rest. And they did exclusively for pleasing Srila Prabhupada. Then our dearest Gargamuni Prabhu and Brahmananda Prabhu came in, and all the financial problems solved at one go. So in those days, Gargamuni Prabhu used to be called as Gargamani Prabhu. So he brought so much, wealth for Srila Prabhupada. To an extent, they treated Srila Prabhupada like a royal king. Brahmananda Prabhu and Gargamuni Prabhu, they had a Prabhupada Katha in Radha Gopinath temple in Chowpatty several years before. I'm saying 20 years before. At that time, Gargamuni Prabhu was sharing, they drove 7 Mercedes car Benz those days. From Europe, they drove all the way to India to offer to Srila Prabhupada. Can somebody do that? Just to serve Srila Prabhupada. 7 Mercedes Benz, they drove all the way from there. So the kind of service Vaishnavas do for their Gurudev, definitely we can't imitate. We shouldn't imitate. But we can understand in their focus how a spiritual master's service is the prime agenda. They are ready to go to any extent for that. Digvijay Pandit came to challenge Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami said, okay, you are Digvijay Pandit. Fine, I accept my defeat. But Jiva Goswami couldn't tolerate that. Of course, he got the wrath of Rupa Goswami. He got, Rupa Goswami got a bit upset. Eventually, Sanatana Goswami came and pacified. But what did Jiva Goswami do? He established that how come my spiritual master, how come my senior whom I look up to, how come I can allow him to fail? Let me take a contemporary example. I'm not sure how many of you in this call are in the movement in 1996 during Srila Prabhupada's centennial celebrations. Loknath Sai Maharaj has given a title, a tagline for the centennial celebrations. Na bhuto, na bhavishyati. Never it has happened in the past, never it will happen in the future like this. We were all very fortunate to be part of that. The kind of service, the glorification, Srila Prabhupada's disciples, they did to Srila Prabhupada for his centennial celebration. Oh my God. There was one team who went all over the world to collect holy tirtha water to be brought to Mayapur. All over the world, not all over India. All over the world, whatever is called as a holy tirtha, people went there and brought the water from there. There was, golden lotus, pushpa, Swarna Abhishek was made to Srila Prabhupada. We used to have something called as Prabhupada nights. Every week, Friday used to be called as Prabhupada nights. We all used to sit together and read about Srila Prabhupada. So the idea is that when a Guru Maharaj, when Srila Prabhupada was on this planet, the amount of service his servants did. Now, after Srila Prabhupada left, look at the amount of service that are being done to glorify Srila Prabhupada. So what did Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj do? Srila Prabhupada excelled them in glorifying him. And what did Srila Prabhupada do? His disciples are excelling, not to, overpower him, but to glorify him. And that brings us a very important point. We as students and servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and his followers, we need to also excel in helping our Guru for his service. So this Sushrushu is something very interesting. Number 6. It's called Tyakta Mana. Tyakta Mana means has become humble and free from gross manifestations of pride. Free from pride by being humble. The very famous story of Ramanujacharyas Grihastha servants. I think I shared this in this call, one of the earlier sessions. Ramanujacharya had a brahmachari disciple, had few brahmachari disciples, and also had Grihastha disciples. And he used to give a lot of importance to his Grihastha disciple to an extent that the brahmacharis, they came and complained, Gurudev, we gave our life to you. You are giving so much attention to your Grihastha disciple. Same thing happened to our Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In Radhakund, all the brahmacharis and sannyasi disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj went to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj and said, why are you giving so much importance to this Grihastha? Anyway, we'll come back to Ramanuja. So Ramanujacharya, to respond to his brahmachari, he said, don't, ask me this question. Rather, I will tell you to do something. You do it, you will understand yourself. When these husband and wife are sleeping tonight, go to their house and try to steal jewelries and ornaments from their house. So these brahmacharis couldn't understand what is the relevance of this experiment. But they said, okay, let us even do this and see what this Guru Maharaj want to say. So that day night, all the brahmacharis went to this husband and wife's house. They were waiting till they were, sleeping. And they went and tried to steal the jewelry from Mataji and whatever, ornaments she wore. And as they were removing, so the Mataji kind of moved as if she woke up. So all these brahmacharis, fearing that they'll get caught, they ran away. And was waiting and watching if they really got caught or, they have one more chance. So they were hiding behind to see what is happening. And the husband woke up and started scolding the wife. What did he do? Do you know who came? They are all our God brothers. They are all wonderful devotees. If they have come to steal jewelry, which means there may be something very important. They are gentlemen devotees. which means there is something very much important to be done for Gurudev. That is why they have come and done, did this. You really disturbed them. You really came in the way of service. This was the mood of that householder. What was the response of the wife? My dear Prabhu, please don't mistake me. I was not trying to, stop them from the service. I was adjusting my sleeping position so that they can remove the other side of the jewelry also. I was not lying down in a very comfortable position for them to take it away. Hearing this, these brahmacharis, they felt ashamed. So somebody being humble is understandable. Somebody being humble to this extent is not something to be imitated. It is something to be worshipped. One example of our Vasudeva, the devotee, who had leprosy, but worshipped Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ardently. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to South India, Kurma Kshetra, he gave his association to Kurma Brahmana. And then he was proceeding further down south. He suddenly remembered and came back and went to Vasudeva's place, whom no one wanted to even go closer to because he used to be stinking because of the pus oozing out of the body. So when Vasudeva saw Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, Mahaprabhu, please don't come close by. I'm a dirty guy, I'm a fallen soul. And Chaitanya Charitamrita explains what was his fallen state. He used to pick up the worms falling off from his own body, which were eating his own pus and wound. He used to pick them up and put it back. These are all very extraordinary, extreme conditions. That is why we cannot imitate, we should not imitate. We should simply worship those Vaishnavas. And Mahaprabhu, what did he do? He gave a tight hug and said, my dear Vasudeva, I am yours. Nashta kushtam, rupa pushtam, bhakti tushtam, chakraya. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that you are my special devotee. You have won my heart. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes, Nashta kushtam. When Mahaprabhu gave his blessings, all the leprosy disease in the body got cured. Rupa pushtam. Vasudeva regained his transcendental, wonderful body. Bhakti tushtam. In his heart, pure devotional service got established. So we will have to stop here. We will deal with the remaining 9 as well as additional learnings in the next class and also do a summary study. So to just give a quick glimpse of what we did today is that we are trying to discuss the section 4 of the punishment list, in which the transcendental devotees and their transcendental exchanges with the Supreme Lord and fellow devotees are being discussed. Apparently, it may appear punishment. Apparently, it may appear an argument. Apparently, it may appear like some sort of a deterrence. But this section simply purely deals with transcendental loving exchanges between devotees. So we will churn more of this, learn remaining 9. The reason I was discussing these qualities are only when we have these qualities, we will have the privilege, we will eventually get the quality to be part of the transcendental strategic projects of our acharyas. Then only we will become qualified enough to receive personal confidential instructions. Srila Prabhupada writes in Nectar of Instruction that a disciple conducts himself in such a manner that the Supreme Lord empowers the spiritual master. I am paraphrasing. The Supreme Lord empowers the spiritual master and the spiritual master reveals the person's Swarupa. So our Swarupa can be revealed, not just like that. We need to work hard. So we are very fortunate to be part of this wonderful Sankirtan mission, that we are getting to learn, we are getting to discuss some important sciences of Krishna consciousness, by which we can also make it to Krishna. So we will stop here and take up any questions or comments and any reflections from this discussions. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaurav Premanande. Hare Hare Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful class. If anybody has any question, please feel free to raise your hand and unmute yourself. I think Rachna Mataji has raised her hand. She can go ahead. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, thank you very much. Very nice, beautiful class. So I just had a question about, when you talk about that righteous conduct, what can you give me some points about righteous conduct for like Mataji's, because you gave the example of Jiva Goswami and how, in spite of, I mean, he wrote all those beautiful literatures, but he also did, management and, drafting legal documents and stuff. So, I mean, I'm thinking like in ISKCON also, there's, Matajis have very opinionated ideas about what their role should be. So I was wondering what you think is like righteous conduct according to Matajis.
Okay. Very important point, but very controversial sometimes it becomes, and very subjective from what angle anyone sees it. I personally, this is my personal reflection, so anyone can hold me responsible if I'm wrong. Please don't hesitate. But then my learnings and understanding Krishna consciousness is three with respect to ladies and associated things. Number one is that there is no, I personally don't believe in this concept of gender equality. I personally believe it's called always gender superiority. Some genders are superior in something, some genders are superior in something else. So when you bring down the equality, then you also bring into juniority also. If you bring in superiority, the problem was that wherever a gender is supposed to be treated superior, when they were not treated superior and treated inferior, that's when they brought this idea of gender equality. Otherwise, there was never a concept of gender equality. Suppose, for example, when a gender is supposed to be treated superior in certain types of services, you treat them superior and treat them very gentle and loving. No, I would want to be, gender inferior to somebody like that. I'm gender inferior to my mother. I'm gender inferior to my wife in certain situations. I have no problem. And I'm gender inferior to my sister. I'm gender inferior to my fellow friends. Because there are something that they do wonderfully. So that is number one. So the reason is that the service differentiation question comes in because of this gender. I personally feel that women and men or both are gender superior. Depends upon what service, who is capable of. Number two, as a principle, Srila Prabhupada says, and many of my mentors have personally, taught this, that a lady, a woman, excels in her service when she is under an able and intelligent man. This has nothing to do with their capability. Oh, if man is not there, cannot function. Please don't take me that route. Because I used to always think why in the Shastras they have mentioned that Shudra and Stri in the sloka, both in Bhagavatam as well as in Bhagavad Gita. Many times people take it in an offensive route. Oh, women are treated at par with Shudra. No, it is not in that. Even for that sake, Shudra is not somebody who is a bad person. Shudra is part of the ecosystem. So let me answer my understanding. Both Shudras and women, they will perform to their best if they had or if they have an able partner or an able senior or able superior or able guide. So when Vedic scripture says that women under a guru, father, son, husband, she can perform to the best. So I would say that any service she can do if they are under them. When they are under them, doesn't mean that they are subservient. The word under English is such a terrible language. Sorry to say for all those English speaking people, that sometimes we will not be able to explain what we are trying to explain. When we are saying under, junior, subordinate, inferior, in fact, the whole spiritual language is like that. Spiritual language is, I am your servant. Are we inferior? By saying I am servant of servant, you are most superior from Krishna's perspective. So that is number 2. Number 3, in terms of the services, there is something called as masculinity and genuinity, femininity in terms of a nature. If you know Sanskrit, if you know German as a language, or even Hindi for that matter, a particular object, a time of the day, a particular situation, they are associated with gender. So why they are associated with gender? Because it is masculine, feminine, there may be other grammatical reasons, but masculinity and femininity is a universally defined scenario. And feminine is a beauty. And that beauty should not be lost. So, as a woman, when you are trying to perform a service, make sure your feminine nature is not compromised. Because if a feminine nature is compromised, then you cannot, then what is your beauty? It is like a human being behaving like an animal. We know how much time in the class he said, don't behave like an animal. A human being behaving like an animal doesn't make any sense. Similarly, if women behaving like a man or a man behaving like a woman, it's a rasa bas. It's like kind of a funny combination. So these 3 are the overarching principles. Otherwise, no services, nobody is restricted. I read an article. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, look at him. Look at this, intelligence. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj is writing on deity worship. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj is considered as the most ferocious or very, fiercely preacher. Lion Guru, Singha Guru kehte hain. So he writes, in deity worship standard should be very much, of the highest standard. That deities are never supposed to be, ignored or, mistreated or anything. And in that same sequence, he is explaining, if you have a deity, and if you do not have anyone else to take care, and generally women during the periods, they are, supposed to take rest or supposed to be, kept away from deity services. He's saying, if the deity services are, to be done and no one is there. I personally read this article. No one is there. By taking a head bath, the deities can be served. But please don't apply this principle on a main course. Try to find options. The reason I'm explaining this particular reason is that our acharyas have done extreme, instructions and situations also, which means women have played some superlative services which otherwise is treated as masculine. But then, please understand Desha Kala Patra. If you don't understand Desha Kala Patra and you don't understand the reasoning behind them, then probably it becomes little muckier. So otherwise, in terms of being righteous conduct, no conduct is, non-righteous for women or men from that perspective, if they follow these three principles. This is my personal realizations. Anyone can hold me, for this. Hare Krishna. Make sense?
Very much. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate your, the points you gave are very, I appreciate them that you were able to say them so, you just confidently said the points, because some people don't even want to, they want to stay in that safe place that they don't want to, say what they feel, So I'm glad that you said the points, and I appreciate it. The points make sense, and I didn't even take offense because they completely make sense. Because if you don't misunderstand the points, they are correct in their place. And Prabhupada mentions that in his books. How the lady should be in her conduct. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, thank you.
There is a wonderful purport Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna book or in 10th canto somewhere. When Krishna entering Mathura, Krishna, so many people wanted to see Krishna. People had not seen Krishna. People had only heard about Krishna for the last 11 years. And they got so much in love with Krishna that this is the first time Krishna is coming. So there's a wonderful chapter where how people came to watch Krishna. Some people were taking bath, they just left them, came and halfway. Some people feeding milk, they left them halfway. Some people were doing serving, so many things. And one category in that Srila Prabhupada writes, or even the translation goes, there were shy ladies who do not want to come in front of Krishna face to face. They hid in their balcony. They were hiding behind and watching Krishna. So typically, we will have different types of, even women. Somebody wants to come and dance in front of everyone and glorify Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But somebody may genuinely have shy and they may want to dance amongst ladies only. So both are correct in their own space. That is why I'm saying it is not, don't, template on anyone. If you understand those three primary overarching points, I guess, we are good. That's my personal realization. And I'm sure in fact, I would rather say that the half of the problem today in the society with respect to gender equality is because of man not knowing how to treat a woman. If men in the past and Brahmanas in the past, these two people, they have dealt properly, neither Varnashrama would have collapsed, nor this gender equality problem would have come. Brahmanas misused their position and they really messed up the entire Varnashrama system. And men in the house, they misused their, whatever, they thought that they are powerful. They thought power is power. Actually, chastity is more power. What, our chaste ladies could do, a powerful man cannot do. What Gandhari could do for Duryodhana. Gandhari could actually literally, if Duryodhana had literally heard, if Krishna had not intervened, nobody could have killed Duryodhana. Gandhari said that I had been a pativrata for so many long years that you just come naked and nobody can dare touch you. Krishna knew that and Krishna played a game there. So the idea is that the power is not on the strength. The power is in the your conduct. So anyway, there are a lot more to discuss. Anyway. Any other questions or comments, reflections?
Please unmute and ask Prabhuji a question. This is such a wonderful class. I just want to reflect on a point that they mentioned. Is Danuda's pastime is such a sweet pastime to Ramanuja. I really like that pastime. It teaches us that, even though that we have in a Grahastha life, that we should be willing to sacrifice what's needed for Guru, and in a mode of service, not in a proud way either. He was so I really like that pastime as well. And then you reflected on Jayananda Prabhu, how much he did, especially when he didn't even want to waste $1 to buy clothes for himself. They said when he went in front of the judge and he got caught, and he said yes, the judge was so lenient with his honesty alone changes. So we should develop that sort of quality that we can imitate, like you said, but at least try to follow that footstep in which we pure in our consciousness, pure in our character. This is what Gita in terms trying to teach is. They tell Arjuna said that, more important than anything is important of the different character, because we have more goodness, ignorance, and passion. So thank you to highlight these quality so much again. So anybody else have any question? Please feel free to unmute and ask Prabhuji.
Looks like everybody is happy. So thank you so much, and thanks for tolerating whatever I'm trying to do here. And next week will be our last session, so we will do our. I hope I will be able to finish those 9, and plus I have a few more points than somebody. Let's see if not, I'll borrow 1 more week extra if possible. Otherwise, I'll try to squeeze in next week itself. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
We wish it goes on.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Please let's pray for Prabhuji by chanting Haribol 3 times. Thank you. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol.
Thank you very much for your time and for sharing your wisdom. With that, with your permission, Prabhu, it's okay to end the call?
Yeah, sure.
Hare Krishna.